Hi, everyone. My name is Andrea. I'm the Client Success Director here with Tip of Spear, and we have a very special, I don't know what you call this, presentation, interview, chat to share with you guys today. So I have with me here the owners of Tip of Spear. You may not know that there's actually two. So I'd like to introduce Dave Suffer.
Hello.
And Ida Agronin. Hello. So today we're just going to share with you guys a little bit about the background of Tip of Spear, how it came to be, who these lovely people are, so you can actually put a face to the name. So let's start with your backgrounds. Dave, would you like to share a little bit about your background?
No.
Dave has basically done everything.
No, I'm 50 years old now. We only have 10 minutes. Holy cow. My background. Yeah, okay, so I've been in the industry 30 years. I worked in bars when I was 18. I joined the military. I got out of the military, went into corrections for 4 years. And I went into being a peace officer at that time on special constables for hospitals. I was 8 years there. I was managing at the shop center downtown. The Northlands, I was the senior operations manager for security there. And Tip of Spear began in 2011. 2011 when I left Northlands. And I was primarily teaching on all the programs that Tip of Spear was currently at the time offering. So from that point now I work for, of course, large corporations, the security manager as well. So,
thanks, Dave. Great breadth of experience you certainly have. Ida, what is your background?
Not the same background.
That's what makes it great.
I born and raised in Edmonton. My family had a business before I was born. It was an army surplus store. It moved into selling security and law enforcement gear. We supplied different agencies. We supplied the military. We supplied different government agencies, and I did that for 30 years. Dave and I have been friends for over 20 years. I don't even know how long, but well over 20 years.
over 20, yeah.
And he approached me with this great idea. And we went for coffee and we sat down with his little coil notebook with all his drawings and all his ideas. And I went, yeah, because I saw a need too for it. I sold security gear to security guards, and we both recognized the need. We both like to set people up for success. So it was a really good partnership, and here we are 10 years later.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Going well. And now I manage the front end of the business.
I've only had to peel her off of me from trying to kill me like at least 8 times. But, you know, it was like Kato. Right?
You know, one time in a Krav Maga, one time at band camp, one time in a Krav Maga class, Dave pulled me aside to demonstrate on me, and I thought, hey, I'm his business partner. He'll go light on me.
So, it was 10 years of pain.
Yeah,
all the pain and stuff.
Yeah, my teeth rattled. It was like, and I was shocked. I just stood there with the bag all.
Yeah.
But it's fun, it's creative, and we make people better. And I really like that about it.
Amazing, amazing. So let's talk a little bit about the start of Tip of Spear. So you said Dave came to you with an idea. So Dave, tell us about that period in your life where you wanted to start something new. What made you decide to start a business, and why this, of all things?
Yeah, why?
Can't really go into the why. That's a great question, Andrea. I think the question, you know, when we looked at the time, it was time for a change. I worked corporate for, 20 years at that point. So it was like, okay, there's an opportunity to make change and fill in the gaps, right? Because that's what we saw was the gaps between, certain types of training pieces. So
And the quality of the security guard.
I mean, there's lots of people that were training at the time, and there's still lots of people out there that are wonderful at training and stuff. It's just, they were also tasked with other jobs, or they were also using it as a stepping stone moving into a better career piece. So, there's a lot of transient pieces in the training component. There still is, because folks are doing the training component to get experience, to get in front of people, learn how to articulate themselves and to be able to teach skills, but that also will translate into the job and allows them to have better confidence when they're doing things. So, in the next employer, that's what they're looking for. So, anyway, Tip of Spear was meant to be a stable component to say, yes, that we'll offer these. Our focus was to help, smaller companies at the time when we started as well, which it still is because they may not have the ability to have a dedicated training piece and the ability to customize that training so that it fits their environment. There's lots of cookie cutter training pieces, and that's fine. It's just sometimes that's not acceptable in their environment, and they run into issues with regards to customer service or litigation, whatever that might be. So we had the opportunity to be able to tailor that for them. And be cost effective too. I think that's really what our focus was. Is obviously I don't own a Porsche. Do you own a Porsche? No, right? So we wanted to be cost effective for everybody, so that we look after our friends and family out there that are doing this type of work. Looking after. So there you go.
Amazing. And then Ida, how did you jump in? And Dave, I guess, why did you invite Ida to become a part of this?
She came in kicking and screaming.
I already owned a business.
Yeah.
I already knew what was required to set up a business, although I didn't know. It was a really intriguing learning experience because I took over a family business that was already set up. So learning how to go through and get all the permits and get everything set up was wow. It was really interesting, but still, I already had an accountant, I already had a lawyer, I already had all this stuff, so it made that easier. I already had infrastructure that Tip of Spear needed, so.
Right.
Yeah, I think people that want to start up a business, it's, I think if they actually knew how much work that really is
Yeah, it
sometimes,
really is.
it's daunting.
It's one of the hardest things I did, was
Yeah.
starting Tip of Spear and getting to the point of opening the doors.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
From all the permits to,
It's stressful.
I mean, that's the hardest part, and I don't mean to deter somebody, but it's easy because it looked like it was easy from the outside. Oh, they just started up. But I think there was so much running and swimming and trying to figure out and start.
Yeah, it was like 3-4 months before we could open the doors.
Yeah, like it was just,
Yeah.
and we were already losing money. So
Yeah,
it was,
yeah.
That's a daunting fact for people, especially if you're trying to put a product. So,
And that's even with your business background and your experience. It still took a lot of learning and understanding and putting those foundational pieces in place.
Yeah.
So how about the journey, the past 10 years? Because we're celebrating our 10th anniversary on which day again?
June 26th, 21st or 26th. You didn't prep me, so I didn't have to.
So the official date of incorporation is,
Late June.
late June.
Late June.
But we officially opened up, I think it was October or November. November, yeah.
Right before Christmas. What a great time.
It was awesome.
You're like, November, yeah. Oh, great.
Yeah, but we did it. We got through.
Yeah.
And we're in our technically third location. I think it's been the best location so far.
Yeah, that alone has been a journey.
Yeah. It's finding a location that works and fits and that we can modify and it, and it worked in the pandemic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's, it was that diversity that we needed, right? So,
So most businesses, I don't remember the exact statistic, but I believe it's like 90 or 95% of businesses fail within the first 5 years. So to make it 10 years is actually a really big deal.
Yeah.
So I know that there were some tough times.
Oh yeah. But it could have
guys.
happened. We could have failed in the first 5 years.
Yeah.
That easily could have happened. When you're at the mercy of government regulation and, you know, the government allowing who can and can't train and who can and can't offer it. You know, when you think you can be competitive and maybe make some margins on a course, and then they go and change the rules or let other people do it, it makes it really challenging to be competitive and make money. So yeah,
I mean, at the same time, it made us better because it had to be, right? Like,
Absolutely.
And we're
you know,
creative.
you have
Yes.
a choice,
Yes.
right? Like, you have a choice. You can either go, okay, well, I give up. And that's what a lot of people have a tendency to do is go, it becomes too difficult.
And
Or you choose a path that, you know, you go, be better, be consistent.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, be creative.
Be creative, because everybody comes out of the gate, you know, hell and fire, but to keep that up for 10 years, right? Like, I tell you, you know, like that takes courage, it takes
And you need
conviction.
downtime from it
Yeah.
to get back into it.
Yeah.
And we were both there on different times, but we both held the course.
Yeah.
Wow. So what was it that helped you hold the course? Like in those tough times when you weren't even sure if you could pay your bills that month?
I don't know if I want to be honest.
Alcohol. No, I think.
I believed in the business.
Yeah.
Part of it was I had a big investment in the business and I didn't want to lose that. I know Dave and I are sort of cut from the same cloth and how we want to see people do well and be better and build better people. And those are kind of the things that kept me in it.
Yeah. Yeah, it really was. I mean, if you didn't have an investment, and we're talking money, and money is
Money and heart, yeah.
Like if you don't believe in what you're doing, and you're not, like it's easy to get distracted doing this thing. Right?
Yes.
Ego is the worst part of it because, well, I'm better than everyone else. But, you know, when we run into this, I mean, even in the start, you know, and as a trainer myself, you know, as a young trainer, it was like, oh, yeah, I can do this. This is awesome. This is amazing in comparison. You know, now you look at stuff and, okay, if that fits for you, then that's your, what your goal is, what your ethos is. Ours was different. So.
Yeah.
You know, and that was the big part. I think employers, mainly, I think the difference was that I've managed this function for many years. So I know what the pitfalls are for me, right? There's lots of people who train who've not been in a management function to manage this and then actually have to go through a court process or go through a discovery or go through, you know, civil litigation, whatever that might be, and to see what the pitfalls are. You know, and that's the biggest part. It's easy to teach people stuff, but, you know, really ultimately, in order to keep people from going in the ditch, we need to give them a clear understanding of why this is important. You know, sometimes that's difficult. As a new trainer, I didn't have the depth in some pieces. So it only took years of experience. And then, of course, it's who you surround yourself with.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like,
huge.
You can have people that are extremely negative in your environment and you're just like, wow, nothing's right. And then you can have people in your environment that are positive and actually do want to make a change within whatever industry that might be. We didn't call Tip of Spear the security guard training company for that reason. We called it Tip of Spear because, A, we want to be at the forefront. Yeah. We also want to make sure that, you know, we could expand as we needed to. It was very, you know, a flexible platform so that we meet the needs of our clients.
Yeah, and lead. Yeah, the biggest compliment you can get is when another company tries to copy you and do it the way you do it.
Yeah.
And that's how you know you're the leader.
Exactly.
And we're the leader, like without a doubt. But a humble leader, in that we still are trying to be better. We're still trying to offer other things, still trying to improve things. And
yeah, I think, you know, and that's the part of it that, you know, that caused us to excel was that it wasn't about proving ourselves.
No.
You know, you get past the point of proving yourself that we're here for you. That's a choice. You make an educated choice. I can sell you a line. I can be a talker and, oh, look at this. This is amazing, right? But at the end of the day, you know, push comes to shove. Right?
Yeah, the proof's in the pudding.
Yeah, and the client has to be happy. And the person every person who comes in our door is a client, right? Like, and that's how it, you know, needs to be, no matter what their skill set is. And I look at that part as, as a part of the family.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's been a big difference too. It wasn't about numbers. It was about, making people better, and they are our ambassadors.
Yeah.
It's not us.
Yeah.
We're the best, we're the best, we're the best. You can, I don't know how many times we've heard that over the past decade,
Yeah.
right? But at the end of the day, it's the student who's the proof to that, and the one who, praises our efforts, because that's what's important.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. Right. So I hear adaptability, I hear creativity, problem solving, putting the student first, or catering to the needs of the client in whatever way that is, helping them, not just educating to the bare minimum, but really setting them up for success so that their actions are defensible, that they are equipped to actually do well in their position and move on. And obviously you guys are a great team. Where you can kind of go back and forth. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, we rib each other hard.
It's bad. It must be like time.
But it's all love. It's all love, yeah.
Except when it goes to hair jokes or lack thereof. It's on like Donkey Kong.
That's funny.
There's lots of hair here.
I never.
So where do you guys see Typosphere going over the next few years? Who knows how long?
Further advancing people's careers.
Mm-hmm.
And just continuing to keep up with changes in what's happening in society and in the security industry, and just keeping up with that. And, just recognizing opportunities as they happen. Yeah, I haven't seen any yet necessarily that we aren't already working on that we can't talk about. But beyond that, just keep doing what we're doing because it works. Yeah. And Andrea will be humble, but she's been a big part of the last year or two of what's gone on for Typosphere.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure you get the accolades too for what's going on and how fancy the website looks and how successful the client relationship is. So you definitely deserve accolades there.
Oh, well, thanks.
You've been a great addition to this team. And you've also helped any tension here.
There's still tension, all right. It's good. It's been a great idea. Andrew has been pivotal for being able to push us past that envelope.
Mm-hmm.
There's only so much horsepower, and I think that's where somebody who's starting out and new, they bite off so much, then it's like, holy cow, how do you manage a social media piece? How do you manage a website? How do you manage all those components that are absolutely critical for your success?
With only 24 hours in the day.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I look back and, I was teaching probably 12 programs and registering. And,
yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, holy cow. And then the social media stuff I do while I'm just going to bed, and I was just like, holy cow. It was
exhausting.
Never stopped, right?
Yeah.
So, this has been wonderful because, with my journey right now, I'm still learning every day. And that's what I think, when they always say it, when you have that person who says, oh, yeah, I'm an expert, and I'm like, oh, God, I hate that word expert, because expert in my mind, it means like, oh, I stopped, I've reached the pinnacle. No, it's not even, I get called that, and I just cringe because, I don't know, there's part of me that every day I learn something new, and that's the professional piece, is that the moment you think this is it, I'm done, those days are gone.
Yeah.
It's a shifting floor. And one of the directors I work with, he's outstanding. He's very articulate. He's amazing. You just sit there, wow, those are amazing skills, right? But he's been in that environment, for all his life. So, but he talks about, the floor is always shifting. It's like sand, right? And if you're not used to sand floor, you're used to the hard floor. This is exactly where I'm going to be. It's very difficult.
Yeah, it'll suck you up.
Yeah.
Or if you get to the point of where I'm happy here and there's no more innovation.
Yeah.
There's no more recognizing of opportunities. You just, you stop growing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the death of a business. The second you stop growing or changing or developing, that's when you start to go backwards.
Stop being interested in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can speak from experience on that too.
Mhm.
It's also that focus on what is really important, right?
Yeah.
Like there's lots of people who will take, I see course after course after course after course. Look what I did, look what I did, look what I did. And I'm like, okay, how did that really develop you, or are you just collecting a piece of paper?
Yeah.
Right? Like what was the value? And that's really what's important, because as we get older, time is our
Yeah.
biggest, commodity,
Mhm.
right? So you're not just out collecting pieces of paper, you're out there learning. What is it that education doesn't mean just in a formal setting. It's taking an interest in something that is important to you.
Mhm.
So that's always of interest in myself, and look at how to be better, right? A lot of people lost that focus. They just take everything and then look at my resume.
Mhm.
You've been in the industry for 2 years and you have 25 certificates. Like, it's like, okay, what have you learned? Now you might need these certificates for a workplace piece, but really focus on what gives you great value. Like there's some stuff that, as a new person starting out, it's about concepts. It's not about technique. And that's hard to understand when you're starting, because I want to know exactly how to do this down to the minutia.
Mhm.
But an agency or a group or a government or private industry, they're going to have a way for you to do things, right? They're going to have a way for you to do something. They're going to have an expectation of a pattern. Where can I grow? I can grow on concepts and understanding the theory behind that. And then when you go to any of these places, then it's just applying that theory to how they apply it in the field, right? It's really learning, like, this is why we've moved into our situational awareness, right? So situational awareness, I can go into any category, and it's a basis, right? Our arrest and control, it's not just about the arrest and control, honestly. Like, anybody can teach somebody. How long? 20 years of that course? Plus, right?
Yeah,
Teaching that program, I can probably do that one in my sleep, but it's not just about the application of the cutoff, right? It's all the pieces leading up to it.
Yeah, it's a puzzle. It all fits
Right?
together. Yeah.
And that becomes part of that situational awareness. It also becomes awareness of your safety, your pre-attack indicators, right? Your spatial awareness, your environment. What does that look like? Is this something I should be doing or not doing? Right? Not committing myself to, extreme risk. But these are concepts, right? These are
Principles, right?
Principles.
The principles are universal and can be applied in any situation.
exactly.
But the principles that you have to not just know them at a surface level, but you have to know them at a very, very deep level so that you can apply them in
Right.
different
And the
scenarios.
diversity of those courses allows us to take
Yeah.
the company in whatever direction is needed. And that's part of the success. And that's another reason we can get through the pandemic, because we were set up with all that diversity.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's why we enjoy the crowd too, because
Yeah.
it's based on principles.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
if you think it's about, doing, this is my kata, right? It's not Karma Kata. Right? Karma Kata was built on a battlefield, so it's going to be principles that apply in any type of situation. So what tool am I going to use?
Right.
Right? Same kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Tactical communications, right? There's no cookie cutter fix,
For how to talk to people.
No.
No.
right? So we need to look at the concepts and principles that what is the goal
Mhm.
we're trying to achieve, and how do we get there so that we survive the court process, the process of the situation itself. First of all, that court process, that a review from a supervisor, like all those parts. So, what are the concepts or what's the goal that we're trying to achieve? And then work from there.
Well, I know that I definitely see huge things for this company too. It's actually one of the big reasons why I chose to get on board as well myself. So thank you, Ida and Dave. I think it's amazing the vision that they have for just empowering individuals, giving people who, have any background a chance to do well in a career that's rewarding, in a protection type of career, and to be able to serve their community, make a good living for their family, you know, jump to, say, a different kind of career or progress even through their security career, for example, or a peace officer career, or private investigation career. And so, yeah, it's neat to see what someone can do with that type of with a career if they're just given the support and the tools and the education and the help to get there. And again, not just, like Dave said, not just, you know, facts, but actual knowledge that can then translate into wisdom and really help that person grow as a person. So yeah, I love the values, I love the vision. See huge things for this company, and we're continuing to grow all the time, and excited about where we're going to end up heading the next, you know, few years to who knows how long. So, yeah, thanks for joining us. I think that's where we'll wrap up today, but appreciate your time and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.